Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and whispering trees, there lived a young man named Alex. His life wasn't the typical fairy tale you'd expect. Alex lived a life far from the fairy tales of his dreams. Instead of warmth and love, he found himself under the thumb of his stepmother, Mrs. Grimshaw, who treated him more like a servant than a family. Her imposing figure casting a shadow over his daily life. Each day began with a long list of chores, with Mrs. Grimshaw watching over him with a cold and distant gaze. Alex's shoulders grew heavy with the weight of her demands, his spirit dimming with each passing day. Despite the hardships, Alex found solace in the company of woodland creatures, who offered him comfort amidst the turmoil. But even their gentle presence couldn't shield him from the harsh reality of his existence. One fateful day, Alex made a daring decision to confront Mrs. Grimshaw, tired of living in the shadows of her tyranny. With newfound courage, he stood tall and challenged her authority, refusing to be shackled by her cruelty any longer. As Alex walked away from the oppressive confines of his stepmother's home, he hoped for a better future. Left alone and abandoned, Mrs. Grimshaw's health began to deteriorate, her once formidable demeanor crumbling in the face of illness. With no one to care for her, she found herself haunted by restless dreams, where long-buried secrets clawed their way to the surface. In her fevered state, Mrs. Grimshaw's mind unraveled, revealing the truth she had long kept hidden. And as the secrets of her past came to light, she realized the true cost of her actions, the pain she had inflicted on those she should have loved. One day while sleeping ill, Mrs. Grimshaw dreams about her long-buried secrets were deeply intertwined with her past, which she had kept hidden even from Alex. These secrets were the source of her pain and regret, and they resurfaced in her fevered dreams as she battled illness. One of Mrs. Grimshaw's secrets was the truth about Alex's parentage. She had concealed the fact that she was his biological mother, choosing instead to raise him as her stepson after his father passed away. Another secret that tormented Mrs. Grimshaw was her own troubled childhood. She had endured neglect and mistreatment at the hands of her own parents, experiences that had left deep scars on her psyche and shaped her behavior towards Alex. These painful memories resurfaced in her dreams, forcing her to confront the trauma she had long buried. As Mrs. Grimshaw grappled with her illness and the ghost of her past, she realized the true cost of her actions and the pain she had inflicted on those she should have loved. As dawn broke, Mrs. Grimshaw awoke from her troubled slumber, her heart heavy with regret and remorse. With newfound clarity, she sought to make amends for the wrongs she had done, to seek forgiveness from the son she had treated so cruelly, but where can she find him? Remember, Alex ran away from her bad behaviors. She regrets all bad things she did to her son, and he wanted to see him again so badly. On the other hand, as Alex embarked on his new journey, word of Mrs. Grimshaw's illness reached him through a concerned neighbor who had witnessed her declining health. Despite the pain she had caused him, Alex couldn't ignore the pang of empathy that tugged at his heartstrings upon hearing the news. So, Alex made the decision to return to his stepmother. Upon his return, Alex found Mrs. Grimshaw frail and vulnerable, her once imposing figure now diminished by sickness. Seeing her in such a state stirred a mix of emotions within him. After Mrs. Grimshaw seen Alex again, she felt pain and started crying, begging for forgiveness. She dared to tell Alex the truth that she is his biological mother. It was so painful for Alex, who asked himself why his own mother could treat him like that. But because of his mother's illness, he tried to forgive her, and with hesitant steps and cautious words, Alex and Mrs. Grimshaw began to navigate the delicate terrain of forgiveness. They shared stories of their past, of the pain and regret that had shaped their relationship, laying bare the wounds that had festered for so long. In the quiet moments that followed, they found solace in each other's company, discovering common ground amidst the wreckage of their fractured bond. And as they exchanged heartfelt apologies and words of understanding, they realized that healing was possible, that love could triumph over bitterness and resentment. And so, as the sun rose on a new day, Alex and Mrs. Grimshaw found themselves on a journey of redemption. Though the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, they faced it with courage, knowing that to heal the wounds of the past and forge a new bond built on understanding and forgiveness. The end.